Mikey was loving, kind. He was literally just the biggest connector of people that you could just ever meet. You rarely ever saw Mikey not happy and up. And he was an adventurer. He loved adventures. He loved to surf, to hike, to garage sell with his brothers. He was an artist, so he created all kinds of things. But he was just literally the best person you could ever meet.
His artwork just developed and was just getting better and better. His work in pottery was starting to develop. He was a people gatherer and loved people.
If he knew somebody was down at the deepest level, he would step into their life, and not in a superficial way.
People gravitated toward him. And I was honored to be his father. I was honored to be his father. I was honored to see him grow and develop into the man that he was becoming.
I miss him.
My wife is very intuitive, as most mothers are, and he had already been missing for a day, meaning that he didn't call. But Mikey would go camping. He's 20 years old. He's going to do what he's going to do. So I didn't really think about it much. The first day that he didn't return a call. And that was the 2nd of January.
Mikey was somebody who always followed through. So if I called him, he wasn't one of those who just blowed me off. He didn't blow me off, even as his mom, believe it or not. And I was trying to call him, and he wasn't answering for about a day. And I thought, oh gosh, maybe he's camping, because it was just after the new year. That night I had some gals come over for prayer, and I said, could you pray for me? Mikey hasn't called back. He's probably camping with his friends. He always calls me back. So they prayed for me.
And then the 3rd of January, Cindy started becoming really more and more heightened about, why isn't Mikey calling me back? And that was kind of even unusual, just, I guess, the leading of God.
I was at my lesson and I still couldn't get it off my mind. And I said, do you mind if I call my son again? And she said, sure, Cindy. I said, he always calls me back. Out of probably 12 people that I called, nobody had seen him, until I finally got a hold of one friend, who said, I was driving out of, I believe, Montana de Oro, and Mikey, and he was driving in. And I said, well, was he with someone? And he says, no, I don't believe he was with anyone. I said, I'm worried.
In my heart, I knew I needed to go there. And I can actually remember becoming very grief-stricken in my heart, because I just knew something was wrong. Went out to Montana de Oro and found his car parked on the side of the road. And this is thousands of acres of state park, and which way do you go? And so I had, a good 100 friends and family down there. It's starting to get dark. The sheriffs are bringing in search and rescue teams. They're setting up trailers. It got real intense real fast. It got real fast. At one point they came and they said, okay, everybody, we're going to quit for the night. Everybody go home. And we'll reconvene down here tomorrow. And I believe at that time they'd already found him. And that's when a sheriff's captain had, he pulled me aside and told me that they had found Mikey and that he had indeed expired, as the way that he put it. And I didn't really know how to process that. He said, what can I do for you? And I know, what do you do? What can anybody do for you when they just told you that your son's died? 2:30 in the morning, I got a phone call from the lead sheriff out there. That's when he told me that how Mikey had passed away, that he had taken his own life through asphyxiation, that he had used a rope and taken his life.
I couldn't even wrap my brain around how did this happen? How could this have happened to him?
Mikey, a kid that was so outwardly well-adjusted, so outwardly loved, so had it all together outwardly, just did not see it coming. Just didn't see it coming, ever.
We wanted the legacy of his life and his love, the life that he lived, to live on. And so our whole thing was Beauty for Ashes. We're going to do something to make a difference. We're going to tell our story, that even somebody who you could see no signs could be dealing with things. So we began to pray, and we came up with Knowing You Matter. And we basically came up with that because of who Mikey was and how he showed people that they mattered. And that's us beginning to do something with our loss.
Through the story of Mike talking about Mikey, either maybe a lost survivor can relate to me, or somebody who's considering can see me as maybe being their father. I'm like, oh wow, I never even considered that. If I had to say it again, I would scream from the rooftops, Mikey, you matter. You matter to me. And I'm going to be devastated without you.
So many people came along my pathway and Daryl's pathway, all of our pathways in our family. And I was able to connect personally with several mothers that have lost children, and many who have lost children to suicide. And we were able to grieve together. It was just a bond that I could connect with someone else who's gone through this. I knew that they would feel what I was feeling. I was able to be a support to them. They were able to be a support to me. We want to speak into people's lives and say, you're loved, and you matter.